World Cup 2026 qualifying resumed in the November international window for Africa, Asia, Europe, and North America, and some absolutely insane results have happened in this window. So with that being said, let's take a look at everything that occurred in World Cup qualifying this past month. Starting off with the African World Cup qualifiers first, we're finally in the second round of CAF qualifying, where the best four runners-up from the CAF first round groups participated in the playoffs, with the winner of this being selected to advance to the Interconfederation playoffs from a 2 single-leg semifinal and a 1 single-leg final format. And these four teams were Gabon, DR Congo, Cameroon, and Nigeria, who all finished as the best four runners-ups, with Gabon played Nigeria in one of the semifinals, while Cameroon played DR Congo in the other one. Anyways, let's now begin this section by talking about the Nigeria vs Gabon game first, which went down all the way until the end. In the first half, although both countries had chances of their own, neither of them were able to put the ball into the back of the net. However, in the second half, we would finally start to see some goals. First in the 78th minute, Akor Adams would pounce on a terrible back pass from a Gabon defender, and he would round the keeper and finish the ball with ease to put the Nigerians up 1-0. Gabon capitulated defensively, and it seemed destined that Nigeria would be making the CAF playoff final. But not so fast, because in the 89th minute, one of Gabon's stars, Mario Lemina, would find himself with the ball near the edge of the box, and his strike would deflect off a Nigerian defender into the back of the net to equalize the game late for Gabon and give them life. If Gabon never capitulated defensively, this goal from Lemina would have been the winner, and Gabon would be in the CAF second round final. However, this was just the equalizer that sent the game to extra time, and from here on, it was GG's for Gabon, sadly. Osimhen had the chance in injury time and normal time to win the game late, but he failed to do so. Instead, though, in the extra time, he scored in both the 102nd minute and also the 110th minute to bag a brace in this game. And Ijuke would also score a goal to help Nigeria beat Gabon 4-1 in extra time and make the CAF playoff final. Gabon had almost a flawless World Cup qualifying campaign, just barely falling behind Ivory Coast in their initial group. But yet now, they won't be participating at the 2026 World Cup. That's tough. While in the other semifinal in these CAF playoffs between Cameroon versus DR Congo, it definitely wasn't one of the most entertaining games. However, there will be a late dramatic winner in this tie. Because in the 90+ first minute from a corner kick, the captain Chancellor Mbemba would get his foot underneath the ball and score to help DR Congo beat Cameroon very late in the game 1-0. This means that DR Congo will go to the CAF playoff final against Nigeria, while the likes of Abuemo, Andre Onana, etc. won't be participating at the 2026 World Cup. That is tough for Cameroon, one of the best sides in Africa historically. But now it's time for the CAF World Cup qualifying second round final between Nigeria and DR Congo, where the winner of this tie will secure themselves a spot in the Interconfederation playoffs taking place in March 2026. Everything was on the line in this match, so you already knew that this one was going to be absolute cinema. Starting off early in the 3rd minute, Onyeka struck the ball right outside the box, and somehow the ball ended up at the back of the net thanks to a massive deflection, and the Nigerians were up 1-0 early on in the game. It was a dream start for Nigeria. They couldn't ask for anything much better than that. However, DR Congo kept on applying the pressure in the first half, and eventually in the 32nd minute, the ball would find Ilya in the box from across, and he would slam the ball in to bring DR Congo level in the match 1-1. Moving on to the second half, something crazy happened. Victor Osimhen was subbed out. Mind you, Nigeria are absolutely dog water without Osimhen, so him being subbed out was a huge disadvantage for the Nigerians, and it would be something that would bite them back in the butt. I have no idea why he was subbed out either. Maybe it was because of injury, but nothing's been confirmed at the time of recording this video. All I do know is Osimhen started doing the Ronaldo 2026 Euro coaching stint on the sidelines. Nigeria is so buns that bro has to be the manager now. That's crazy. Now in the second half, there wasn't too much to talk about, but in extra time, DR Congo scored a completely legitimate goal, but the ref called it off due to a foul that just never happened. DR Congo was getting robbed in broad daylight. The refs desperately wanted Nigeria to win this game, I swear. Don't worry, DR Congo, I've been noticing this too. It's not just y'all that's noticing this. After DR Congo got robbed in extra time though, the game had to be taken to penalties, and this might have been one of the worst penalty shootouts I've seen in a very long time. First, Nigeria's Calvin Bassey stepped up, and the Fulham center back completely skied his penalty. What the hell was that? But no worries for Nigeria, because Congo's Mutosami had his penalty saved right after that, even though the goalkeeper looked like a mile off his line, but the referee didn't call it. I wonder why. After that, Simone stepped up for Nigeria and had his penalty saved, so 3 penalties were taken so far and 3 misses. That's wild. But finally a penalty would be converted with Congo Sadiki scoring his after, and then Nigeria would make their first penalty of the night thanks to Adams. It gets even better for Nigeria too, with Axel Twanzebe's penalty being saved to equalize the shootout once again for Nigeria. Following that, Nigeria and DR Congo would each convert 2 penalties, until Nigeria's Ajayi stepped up to take his, because he had his penalty saved during sudden death, and gave DR Congo the chance to win the game through their captain Mbemba. The Mbemba scored the winner against Cameroon. The Nigerian fans tried to do everything to distract Mbemba, even throwing a water ball between him and the ball to knock down Mbemba's focus, but he wasn't faced, and ran past the ball and smashed the ball into the back of the net to win the penalty shootout for DR Congo 4-3, but more importantly, send DR Congo to the 2026 World Cup Interconfederation playoffs in March, and give them their first chance to qualify for the World Cup under the name DR Congo and not Zaire, the name they had last time they played in the World Cup back in 1974. And keep in mind, they did this all without Yohan Wissa, their best offensive player, because he was out injured during this window. While Nigeria have now missed 2 World Cups in a row, and their next chance to qualify for the World Cup will be 4 years from now in 2030. That is tough. Now it's time to move on to Asia's World Cup 2026 qualifying section, where we have the 5th round taking place in November. Now the 5th round consisted of 2 second place teams in each group from the 4th round who played against each other over 2 legs in the 5th round to see which country is going to make the Interconfederation playoffs. And the 2 teams that qualified for this round are the United Arab Emirates and Iraq. And the first leg of this tie took place in Abu Dhabi. And this game was a good one. Starting off in the 10th minute, a free kick was sent to the box, where a cross would find the feet of Al-Hamadi, who slammed the ball to the back of the net to give Iraq an unexpected 1-0 lead away from home. But the Iraqis wouldn't be able to hold on to this lead for long, because 8 minutes later in the 18th minute, UAE's Luanzinho gets on the end of a cross and heads the ball in superbly to equalize his important game 1-1 in Abu Dhabi. After that though, Iraq leaned forward and started getting numerous chances in the game. First in the 30th minute, Al-Hamadi had the chance to grab a brace, but his one-on-one chance was saved by UAE's goalkeeper Khalid Issa. Then in the 45th minute, Iraq had another chance to score, but Issa once again made a miraculous save to keep the UAE in this game. Issa was on a mission in this game. He was amazing. Iraq also had another chance to score in the first half too, but the ball went just wide and the game remained at 1-1. In the second half though, UAE would be the side getting the majority of the chances, but none of them were going in until injury time in the 9+6 minute, where Caio Lucas seemingly scored the late winner to give UAE a 2-1 lead at the very end of the game. However, Caio Lucas was barely offside, and VAR ruled the goal out, and the first leg ended 1-1. So close for the UAE to win this game, and they probably wish that goal counted, especially after what happened in the second leg. So now in the second leg in Basra, Iraq were fully expected to get the positive result, especially with them playing at home. But it would be the UAE who would pounce on the score sheet first after a boring first half where nothing happened. That's because in the 52nd minute, the man who scored that offsides goal in the first leg, Caio Lucas, would receive the ball in a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper and tuck the ball in calmly to give the UAE an unexpected 1-0 lead away from home in Basra. It seemed like for a while that UAE was going to be the ones who were going to go to the Interconfederation playoffs, but not so fast, because in the 66th minute, Iraq's number 10 Muhammad Ali Shamari would get his head on the end of a free kick, and after a heavy deflection, the ball went in for Iraq to equalize the game 1-1. We were 1 minute off such an iconic number. Imagine if he scored in the 67th minute. That would have been fire.
5, 6.
Anyways, this game seemed destined to head into extra time, especially after the UAE having another goal of theirs being ruled out for offsides just barely. But then in injury time from a corner kick, a UAE defender handballed the ball inside the box, and the referee gave a penalty to Iraq at the very end of the game. It kind of reminded me of that one time Egypt got a last minute penalty in the 2018 World Cup qualifying cycle, where Salah slammed the ball in to send Egypt to the World Cup in the very last minute of the game. Well, something similar happened here, because Al-Amari stepped up for Iraq in the 9+17th minute, and he slammed the ball into the back of the net to help Iraq win the second leg 2-1 and the overall tie 3-2, which meant that Iraq had qualified for the 2026 World Cup Interconfederation playoffs in March, giving them the chance to qualify for their first World Cup since 1986. Congrats to all the Iraqi people out there. I'm hoping the best for y'all in March 2026. Let's now move on to the European World Cup 2026 qualifiers, where the last couple of games of these qualifiers would take place in the November international window. And we're going to begin with Group A, where we had Germany on top of the group, Slovakia was in second, Northern Ireland was in third, and Luxembourg was in last place. Now both Germany and Slovakia had to win their last couple of games if they wanted that automatic World Cup 2026 spot. And that's exactly what happened on match day 5. First, Germany had to play Luxembourg away from home, and they got by them pretty easily 2-0 thanks to a Woltemar the Brace, who's been on fire this season, I can't lie. And then in the next match between Slovakia versus Northern Ireland, Bobček scored a 9+1 minute winner to make sure they get the 3 points. Then on match day 6, both Germany and Slovakia had to face each other with the winner going to the World Cup automatically, while the loser of this match had to go to the UEFA World Cup qualifying playoffs. Now you would think this match would be pretty simple for Germany, but the last time out, these guys lost 2-0 to Slovakia away from home, so this game was not that easy to predict. But Germany did not make any mistakes this time, because at home in Leipzig, they absolutely destroyed Slovakia 6-0, with the likes of Baku and later Udrago scoring their first goals for Germany, while my boy Florian Wirtz, my German star boy, got 2 amazing assists in this game to Leroy Sané. Trust me y'all, he's gonna cook even harder for Liverpool. A player as talented as he is will always come through in the end. W Florian Wirtz, man. Anyways, with this win, Germany topped Group A and are going to the 2026 World Cup, while Slovakia finished in second and are heading to the playoffs. But so are Northern Ireland, thanks to the Nations League, so they'll also be in the playoffs, while Luxembourg are going nowhere, with them finishing last place in this group. Germany turned it around since that loss to Slovakia. I respect it. Now let's move on to UEFA Group B, where we had Switzerland on top of the group last time out, and Kosovo were right behind them in second place, Slovenia was in third place, and Sweden was in dead last after their abysmal performances so far in qualifying. Now the automatic spot was pretty much in between Kosovo and Switzerland, and both teams did well on match day 5. with Kosovo beating Slovenia 2-0, while Switzerland absolutely ran through Sweden and slapped them out 4-1. So now for the last match day, all Switzerland needed was a point to guarantee qualification, and they did just that after drawing Kosovo away from home 1-1. And this meant that Switzerland are going directly to the World Cup after topping the group. Well deserved, they've been amazing in these qualifiers. Low-key an underdog for the World Cup too, I can't lie. And then Kosovo, surprisingly, after just recently becoming a national team, are going to the playoffs, while Slovenia finished in third with nothing. However, Sweden are still going to go to the playoffs after their terrible qualifying campaign where they didn't even get a single win due to the Nations League. So Sweden still have a chance, I guess. They're so lucky, man. Alexander Isak, I'm gonna need you to clutch up though. I want to see you at the World Cup, my boy. Anyways, let's now move on to Group C, where we had Denmark in first place. Scotland was right behind them on the same amount of points, just a lower goal difference. And the other two sides in this group are irrelevant because they already got eliminated last time out. Irrelevant! Now both Denmark and Scotland were fighting for that automatic World Cup ticket spot, with Denmark qualifying to World Cups on a routine basis, while Scotland haven't qualified to one in almost 30 years. So there was a lot on the line here. However, both teams failed miserably on match day 5. In the match between Greece versus Scotland, Greece were running the show for the first 60 or so minutes in the match, with them going up 3-0 against the Scots. And although the Scottish came back with 2 goals, it wasn't enough and they lost a crucial game to already eliminate Greece 3-2. But luckily for Scotland, Denmark had a fumble of their own, because at home in Copenhagen, despite going up 1-0, they eventually started losing to Belarus out of all teams at home 2-1 in the second half. And although they got a goal back, Denmark only managed to get a 2-2 draw against Belarus. If they won this game, Denmark's World Cup spot would all but be guaranteed. But instead, both teams are alive on match day 6 to qualify for the World Cup. And guess what? Both Scotland and Denmark were set to face each other on the very last match day in Glasgow to see who qualifies for the World Cup. So you just know that this match was going to be a banger. And it was. Starting off early in the 3rd minute, Scott McTominay, the former Serie A player of the season winner from the last campaign with Napoli, scored an incredible bicycle kick to put the Scottish up 1-0 early on in the game against the Danish. This motherfucker Scott McTominay has been re-energized since he left Manchester United, I swear to God, bruh. This dude is a straight dog now. But then in the second half, things would turn bad for Scotland, as Andy Robertson fouled the Danish attacker on the very edge of the box, and the referee gave a penalty for that. Low-key a soft penalty though, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, Højlund stepped up in the 57th minute and smashed the penalty away to equalize the match for Denmark and restore their spot at the top of the table. However, Scotland would re-obtain their lead in the 78th minute, with Shankland somehow being wide open right in front of the goal and tapped the ball in from a corner kick to restore the lead for Scotland. But it became bad for Scotland yet again in this game, because 3 minutes later in the 81st minute, Manchester United's Patrick Dorgu calmly slid away a chance from inside the box to equalize the game yet again for the Danish. It seemed like Denmark did just enough to secure that automatic World Cup qualifying spot, but not so fast, because in injury time in the 90+ 3rd minute, the man who suffered numerous injuries over at Arsenal and now plays at Celtic, Kieran Tierney, shot a rocket from outside the box and the ball squeezed past Schmeichel to go into the back of the net and restore the lead for Scotland in this game for the 3rd time. But this time, instead of Denmark coming back for the 3rd time, Scotland ended up increasing their lead, because in the 90+ 8th minute, McLean shot the ball from way downtown, behind the halfway line in fact, and he scored this absolute beauty to secure a 4-2 win over Denmark on match day 6 in World Cup qualifying, which meant that Scotland have qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 28 years. This is nothing short of incredible. What made this even more emotional is after the game, the Scottish captain, Andy Robertson, came out and talked about how he couldn't get Diego Jota out of his head during the game, since he always discussed playing in a World Cup with him, and now he knows that Jota is looking down at him smiling. Simply emotional. You could tell how much this loss is affecting the Liverpool players, so maybe we should take it a little bit easier on criticizing this Liverpool side this season. Now with this, Scotland obviously topped the group, while Denmark are going to the playoffs this time with them finishing in 2nd place. Denmark might not be at the 2026 World Cup. That's just wild to think about. But congrats to Scotland, you can tell how much this World Cup berth means to them. Now moving on to UEFA Group D, we had France obviously on top of the group, Ukraine was in 2nd, Iceland was in 3rd, and Azerbaijan was of course in last place. All France had to do to secure their spot at the World Cup was beat Ukraine on match day 5, and they did just that, with the French absolutely destroying the Ukrainians 4-0 in Paris, and this allowed them to qualify for the World Cup 1 match day early. And then with Ukraine beating Iceland 2-0 on match day 6 in Warsaw, Ukraine managed to finish 2nd place in the group over Iceland to go to the playoffs, while France was on top of the group with that automatic World Cup 2026 ticket, as expected to be honest. Moving on to Group E now, we have Spain in 1st place, Turkey was in 2nd, Georgia was in 3rd, and Bulgaria were eliminated in 4th place already. Now this group went pretty routine. All Spain had to do was beat Georgia and not lose to Turkey on match day 6, and they would qualify for the World Cup. And that's what happened. Spain absolutely ran through Georgia away from home 4-0, while Turkey ended up beating Bulgaria 2-0, and then on match day 6 when both sides faced each other, they ended up drawing 2-2. While random fun fact about the other game, we had Georgia somehow losing to Bulgaria away from home 2-1. That's actually wild. What happened to Georgia, man? Are these guys already washed? Regardless, Spain ended up top in the group and qualified for the World Cup, while Turkey fell just right below in 2nd place, and they'll be in the playoffs for the potential spot at the World Cup. Let's see if Turkey makes it this time. We don't want to see another Yilmaz moment like back in 2022. Moving on to Group F now, we had Portugal in first place, Hungary was in second place, Ireland were still alive in third place, which is pretty important, and Armenia was in last place. Now this group was absolutely crazy in the November international window, and here's why. First on matchday 5, Hungary kept their World Cup qualifying dreams alive with a 1-0 win over Armenia away from home. All they needed to secure their spot at the World Cup was have Portugal win against Ireland away from home, which seems pretty routine. I mean, it's Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal, one of the favorites to win the World Cup. They're way better than Ireland. But Ireland were on a mission in November, and so was Troy Parrott, the Irish number 7, because this dude was cooking. That's because in the game between these two sides, in the 17th minute, just after not being given a penalty from a potential Portuguese goalkeeper foul, a corner was set into the box and was later headed across the goal. And Troy Parrott ended up heading the ball into the net to give the Irish an unexpected 1-0 lead despite playing at home. But it was only the 17th minute. There was still a lot of time left in this game, so the Irish had to be locked in to make sure they keep this lead. But they did more than just keep this lead, because they ended up increasing it. You see in the 45th minute, the AZ Alkmaar striker, Troy Parrott, once again dribbles past a couple of Portuguese defenders and then tucks the ball into the bottom left-hand corner to score a brace in this game and put the Irish up 2-0 against the Portuguese. Absolutely incredible scenes. Troy Parrott's on fire and your defense is terrified. Just unreal from the Irish. And it gets even better for the Irish too, because in the 59th minute, Cristiano Ronaldo let his emotions to get the better of him and he elbowed an Irish defender in the back inside the box. And after that, he started hitting the fake crying emo at the Irish crowd. But after VAR took a look at it, the referee decided to give Cristiano Ronaldo a red card, and the Irish fans hit the crying emo back at him and celebrated his red card like it was a goal of their own. Ronaldo was absolutely pissed, but this was hella funny from the Irish fans, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, the Irish ended up winning 2-0 against Portugal and kept their World Cup qualifying hopes alive. And all they had to do was beat Hungary away from home on matchday 6. I know it was a tough task, but it was possible, and the Irish accomplished that. Despite going down 1-0 early on in the 3rd minute to Hungary's Lucas, who headed the ball in from a Szoboszlai cross, the Irish would win a penalty in the 15th minute, in which Troy Parrott of course converted a Cooley to restore a draw in this match. However, the Hungarians would go up again in this game, with Varga scoring an absolute belter of a volley in the 37th minute to help Hungary go up 2-1. From here on, it looked likely that Hungary would hold on to this lead and secure a spot in the World Cup qualifying playoffs, especially because in the second half, they were doing a good job at holding on to this lead. But it all changed in the 80th minute, with Troy Parrott making an incredible free run into the box, staying on sides, and lobbing the ball over the goalkeeper to bring the game back level. But even with this goal, Hungary would still be the ones going through. Ireland needed a miracle. They needed a winner, and well, they got it. And guess who helped them get it? Of course it had to be Troy Parrott, because in the 9+6 minute, the very end of the game, Kelleher launched the ball into the box from the halfway line, and after a header from the Irish attacker, Troy Parrott got on the rebound right in front of the goal and scored to help Ireland clinch a last-minute winner in a 3-2 win for Ireland. Troy Parrott is truly on fire, and your defense is truly terrified, because this dude scored 5 goals in the past 2 games to help Ireland secure a playoff spot. That's right, with this win, Ireland finished second place in the group to make sure they're the ones heading to the playoffs, while Hungary finished at 3rd, and of course, Portugal finished on top of the group as expected, especially after they very convincingly beat Armenia 9-1 without Cristiano Ronaldo. Low-key, they might be better without Ronaldo. Maybe it's a good thing that Ronaldo is probably suspended for the first game or the first couple of games of the 2026 World Cup after his direct red card. Only time will tell though. Just know that this qualifying group was absolute cinema in November. Now moving on to Group G, we had the Netherlands at top of the group, Poland was in 2nd, Finland were in 3rd, and Lithuania and Malta were already eliminated. Now in this group, if Poland wanted any chance of securing that automatic qualifying spot, they had to win their game against the Netherlands on matchday 5. But the match ended up being a 1-1 draw, and with the Netherlands winning 4-0 on matchday 6, they were the ones who ended up top in this group and secured that automatic ticket to the World Cup, while Poland finished in 2nd and advanced to the playoffs. That's about it, I can't lie. Moving on to Group H now, we had Austria in 1st place, Bosnia and Herzegovina were right behind them in 2nd place, Romania was in 3rd place, and Cyprus and San Marino were eliminated. Now this group actually surprisingly ended up being really entertaining in November. That's because Bosnia had to win their game on matchday 5 if they wanted to keep up with Austria, especially after Austria ended up defeating Cyprus away from home 2-0. But Bosnia's match against Romania did not start off the best, with them going down 1-0 at home early on in the 17th minute. Bosnia had to win this game, so they started locking in, and eventually thanks to Dzeko in the 49th minute, and then the American is squished up on my national team USA, Esmer Bacakakatovic scored an absolute rocket in the 79th minute to help Bosnia start winning this game, in which they eventually did 3-1 to keep the pressure on. And guess what? The game on matchday 6 to see who qualifies to the World Cup in this group was between Austria and Bosnia in Vienna. If Austria won or drew this game, they were going to make the World Cup. But if Bosnia won this game, they were going to go to the World Cup instead. So a lot was on the line here, and the pressure on Austria increased heavily after Tabokovic scored for Bosnia early on the 12th minute. Bosnia were then doing everything in their power to hold on to this lead and qualify to their first World Cup since 2014, while Austria were trying to qualify for their first World Cup since 1998. And luckily for Austria, in the 77th minute, Gregoric ended up getting on the rebound of a shot that ricocheted off the crossbar, and he scored to restore a 1-1 draw for Austria in this game. And the Austrians held on to this draw for dear life, and this allowed them to qualify for the World Cup automatically for the first time in almost 30 years, while Bosnia finished 2nd place in the group and advanced to the playoffs, instead taking place in March. While Romania was also heading to the playoffs too, by the way, thanks to the Nations League. And that makes me happy. Not about Romania, but the fact that Bosnia didn't qualify for the World Cup automatically. I'm not a Bosnia hater hater or anything, but I am a bit salty that Esmir left the USA to play for Bosnia. I don't care that he's still American, bro. He's not representing the country I support, so he's a traitor in my eyes. I don't want to see bro happy, so I need Bosnia to not qualify for the World Cup. Sorry, not sorry. Let's not move on to Group I, where we had Norway in first place, Italy were in second, Israel were in third, fuck them, Estonia were in fourth, and Moldova was in fifth. Now this group was pretty routine. As long as Norway won their games and didn't concede like 8 goals in this window, they would be qualified for the World Cup. And well, that happened. Norway ended up beating Estonia on match day 5 4-1, while Italy beat Moldova away from home 2-0. So for the game between Italy and Norway on match day 6, the only way Italy could qualify automatically was if they won by like 8 goals. And it started off well for them in that regard, with Esposito scoring the 11th minute to give the Italians a 1-0 lead. But then Norway turned up the heat in the second half, and Antonio Nusa scored a great goal in the 63rd minute to bring the game back level. And after Erling Haaland had his ass fallen by Mancini, this would give him a ton of motivation, and he would score his 14th and 15th goal of this World Cup qualifying cycle in the 77th and 79th minute of this game to give Norway a big lead in this match. And Strand Larsen would score in injury time to help Norway defeat Italy 4-1 in Milan, giving Italy their worst loss at home in a very long time. And this also helped Norway secure a World Cup qualifying spot for the first time since 1998. I'm so glad that Norway finally qualified to an international football tournament. I've been wanting to see Holland playing something for a while now, and now we'll see this happen in summer 2026. We will be there no matter what.
We'll be there. We will be there. We will be there.
Also, just seeing Gattuso complaining about the South America qualifying and saying it's too difficult in Europe is too funny. Bro, you had a group with Estonia and Moldova and you couldn't even qualify. That's embarrassing. Just be glad that y'all at least made the playoffs. Just don't fail this time. It's as simple as that. Now moving on to Group J, we had Belgium on top of the group, North Macedonia were in second, Wales were in third, and the other two sides were already eliminated. Now Belgium easily finished on top of the group thanks to their draw away to Kazakhstan and their 7-0 beatdown of Liechtenstein at home on match day 6. The best part about this game was this kid hitting the 6-7 emote while the cameras were on it. Absolute cinema. However, the fight for second place was very much alive between Wales and North Macedonia on match day 6, and whoever won this match would finish in second place. And Wales gave a Journey Brazil sort of beatdown against North Macedonia because they absolutely dog-walked North Macedonia in Cardiff 7-1, with Harry Wilson scoring a hat-trick in this game. And with that, Wales finished second place in the group and made it to the playoffs, while North Macedonia finished in third and also made it to the playoffs thanks to their Nations League finish. North Macedonia and Sweden are in the playoffs. Italy are definitely getting some Vietnam flashbacks from those guys, huh? Now on to Group K. Let's not waste your guys' time. We all knew England already qualified to the World Cup in October, and Albania secured that second place spot instead of Serbia, and they'll be going to the playoffs instead. That's really it. Now moving on to Group L, we had Croatia in first place, Czech Republic was in second place, Faroe Islands were right behind them in third place, and the other two sides were already eliminated. And this group kind of proceeded as normal. Croatia ended up beating Faroe Islands 3-1, and then Montenegro away from home 3-2 on match day 6, while Czech Republic beat Gibraltar 6-0 on match day 6, and these results helped Croatia finish on top of the group, qualifying automatically to the World Cup, while Czech Republic finished in second place and will be heading to the playoffs. That's also about it. So now all the groups in UEFA are done. So let's take a look at which countries will be playing in UEFA World Cup qualifying playoffs in March 2026. So at the time we were recording this video, the draw has not taken place yet, so I don't know the paths, but you guys do, so I'll just put it on screen right now. But the pot 1 sides for these playoffs are Italy, Denmark, Turkey, and Ukraine. And then in pot 2 we have Poland, Wales, Czech Republic, and Slovakia. In pot 3 we have Ireland, Albania, Bosnia, and Kosovo. While in pot 4 we have Sweden, Romania, North Macedonia, and Northern Ireland. Yeah, I can't wait for March. This is gonna be fire. But UEFA World Cup qualifying is over now in November. So now I think it's time we talk about North American World Cup qualifying in the region known as CONCACAF. And some absolutely crazy results happened in November in this region. However, before we get to that, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it and it means a lot, so thank you. And also if you guys can, follow my Twitter and my Instagram, both on Nabuto. If you just want to hear my thoughts on football games, transfers, and overall just to get to know me more. And also make sure to join the Discord server, link in the description, and also follow me on Twitch. Live streams may be coming soon. So yeah, make sure to like the video, follow my socials, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Alright, back to topic. Let's start with CONCACAF qualifying Group A, where we have Suriname surprisingly on top of the table, Panama was in second, Guatemala was right behind them in third, and El Salvador was in last, but they were still alive. Now match day 5, both Suriname and Panama had to win their games to make sure they're alive for that automatic World Cup ticket, and both teams did just that. At home for Suriname in their match against El Salvador, they ran right for once, and finally scored more than just one goal in a single game as they destroyed El Salvador 4-0, giving them not only 3 points, but a huge boost in goal difference as well. While in the match between Guatemala and Panama in Guatemala City, it started off great for Panama as the man who haunted the United States in the Nations League in March, Waterman, scored a brace in the first half to give Panama a 2-0 lead away from home. But then it seemed like Panama were going to bottle it, as Guatemala came back thanks to goals from Ordonez in the 69th minute, and then Munoz in the 72nd minute. Luckily for Panama though, the reliable Fallardo came up clutch for them in the 78th minute, and he scored to help Panama beat Guatemala 3-2 to keep the pressure on for that automatic World Cup spot in this group. So everything came down to match day 6. If Suriname beat Guatemala away from home, they will be making their debuts at the World Cup regardless of whatever Panama does. While Panama basically Haiti had to win and hope Suriname dropped points. And Panama better count their lucky stars, because things went their way on match day 6. In their match against El Salvador and Panama City, they absolutely destroyed the Salvadorians, beating them 3-0 very convincingly. And this allowed Panama to qualify for only their second ever World Cup. But how was that possible? What happened to Suriname? Well, in their match against Guatemala and Guatemala City, the first half didn't amount to much, but in the second half, they conceded early in the 49th minute to go down 1-0. And from here on, they capitulated. Olger Escobar came on the pitch and 1 minute later scored a double lead for Guatemala, and then Oscar Santis added one more in the 65th minute to help Guatemala win against Suriname 3-0. Guatemala were already eliminated from World Cup contention, while Suriname were in a must-win game to try and qualify for their first ever World Cup, and yet they were capitulating in the worst way possible. Terrible performance for Suriname, but they had life, because in the 9+3 minute, Guatemala Samoya scored an own goal against his own nation to Guatemala, but this late own goal gave Suriname life and helped them qualify to the Interconfederation playoffs thanks to one more goals forwarded than Honduras, who we'll get to. Suriname got so lucky, man, so lucky. Somebody check that Guatemalan defender's bank account. He might be a millionaire right now. Anyways, it's now time to talk about Group B in this region, where we had Jamaica in first place, Curacao was in second place, Trinidad and Tobago were in third place, and Bermuda been eliminated with them being in last place. Jamaica had a clear route to the World Cup. They were already in first place, and all they had to do was win their next couple of games, and they'll be there next summer. Their main threat was Curacao, a nation that has never qualified to the World Cup and has only existed post 2010. Jamaica had this one in the bag. No way they fumbled this qualification, right? Well, you see on match day 5, while Curacao absolutely destroyed Bermuda away from home 7-0, Jamaica ended up drawing Trinidad and Tobago away from home 1-1, despite going 1-0 up in this game. That's because they conceded an 85th minute equalizer to Trinidad legend Kevin Molino, and this draw for Jamaica meant that World Cup qualifying was in Curaçao's hands. If Curaçao managed to draw or beat Jamaica away from home in Kingston on match day 6, they would make their first ever World Cup, while Jamaica had to win this match or else they would be going to the Interconfederation playoffs. And Jamaica kept on getting close to this game and had Curaçao hanging on by a thread. Not only did they hit the post once, not only did they hit the post twice, but they hit the post 3 times in just the second half alone, and they even thought they got a last minute penalty, but VAR overturned the decision with the defender clearly getting all ball in that slide tackle. And after that, the final whistle blew, and Curaçao qualified to their first ever World Cup, becoming the smallest ever nation to qualify for the World Cup, with a nation of 156,115 people, surpassing Iceland as the smallest ever nation to make it to the biggest tournament on the planet. Although, if we're being completely honest, the Curaçao national team is filled with players from the Netherlands, but still it is a monumental achievement regardless. Well, actually, even if you do add the population of the island together with all the Curaçao people in the Netherlands, it would still be the smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup. So congrats to Curaçao, they deserve this. While Jamaica, on the other hand, of course they fumbled this, man. This is the most Jamaican shit I've ever seen in my life. How the hell are they now supposed to convince Macy Greenwood to represent them? What the heck? But anyways, it's now time to talk about Group C, where we had Honduras in first place, Costa Rica was in second place, Haiti was in third place, and Nicaragua was in dead last in this group. And this group was extremely crazy in November. I still can't believe what happened was actually real. Everything worked out perfectly for a certain nation in this group, who you'll find out very soon. So basically on match day 5, we had Nicaragua taking on Honduras at home, and Honduras were first place in this group, mind you. So despite being away from home, they were still fully expected to win this game. But instead, Honduras somehow lost 2-0 to Nicaragua, losing their first ever game in this group in the most surprising fashion. While Haiti, on the other hand, were taking on Costa Rica at home. Well, by home I mean in Curaçao, because Haiti haven't been allowed to play at their actual home country since this World Cup qualifying cycle started. And in this game, something really surprising happened, because in the 44th minute, Francis Pierrot gets on the end of a Providence cross and scores past Keylor Navas to give Haiti an unexpected 1-0 lead against the side who made the quarterfinals of the World Cup and almost the semifinals back in 2014, and the side who also qualified to the 2018 and 2022 World Cup. And Costa Rica had no answer for this, so Haiti ended up defeating Costa Rica 1-0 on match day 5. And with Costa Rica and Honduras both losing, this meant that the World Cup qualification was in Haiti's hands. All they had to do was beat Nicaragua at home and hope that Honduras doesn't beat Costa Rica away from home. And in that game, it ended in a 0-0 draw, so that worked out. While for Haiti in their match against Nicaragua, the captain of Haiti, Duncan Nazone, gave a powerful speech that motivated Haiti in their last match of qualifying, where he said some things like, there are people who have nothing in their pocket, they only count on us, and today we can make them cry with joy, so let's give them that. Damn, that was motivational. So motivating in fact that right away in the 9th minute, Luisius scored for Haiti to give them a 1-0 lead in this game, and then Providence scored another one in the 45th plus first minute to make it 2-0 to Haiti, a lead that they would hold on to, which meant that Haiti would end up beating Nicaragua 2-0, and they qualified for their first World Cup since 1974 and their second ever World Cup. Incredible scenes, man. Haiti truly deserved this. Since qualifying started, Haiti was enveloped in gang violence since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moise. The capital city was 85% controlled by gangs, the national stadium was overtaken by gangs in March 2024, and they haven't played a single home match since July 2021, and yet they still qualified for the World Cup. Absolute cinema. The scriptwriters were cooking when it came to CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. And like I said, with that own goal in the last minute for Suriname, they had one more goals forwarded compared to Honduras, which meant that they'll be going to the Interconfederation playoffs instead of them. So tough luck for Honduras. While speaking about Costa Rica, under manager Piojo Herrera, Costa Rica will not be playing at the World Cup after qualifying 3 straight times qualifiers beforehand. The legends Keylor Navas, Joel Campbell, etc. have all already played at their last World Cup. That's incredibly sad, man. Tough luck for Costa Rica. But I'm happy for Haiti for qualifying because they truly deserve this moment. Now let's take a look at the Interconfederation playoffs and how they're going to work. So for the Interconfederation playoffs taking place in March, the two highest ranked teams with DR Congo and Iraq will already be in the final of their respective pathways, while Jamaica, Suriname, Bolivia, and New Caledonia will be drawn to each pathway, and these 16 total will be fighting for 2 World Cup tickets. I cannot wait for March. But now speaking about the teams who qualify for the World Cup now, we got the host Mexico, USA, Canada, and then Japan, Iran, Uzbekistan, Jordan, South Korea, Australia, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria, Ghana, Cape Verde, South Africa, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Curacao, Haiti, Panama, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, Uruguay, Colombia, Paraguay, New Zealand, England, France, Croatia, Portugal, Norway, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, Belgium, Austria, Switzerland, and Scotland, with 4 more spots remaining for UEFA teams and 2 more spots remaining from the Interconfederation playoff teams. Wow, man, this 2026 World Cup is shaping up to be an all-timer, I can't lie. I am hyped. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this World Cup qualifying series that I've loved making for you guys, I would appreciate it if y'all can subscribe to the channel and also follow my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and join the Discord community. All the links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you guys want to learn about a football dynasty that was destroyed by a Dutch club, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.